Okay, we're live. Welcome to the 2022 Senior Caucus Debates. My name is Vanessa Chen, and here's Raymond Yang, and we are your BOE co-chairs. Today we'll have the Senior Caucus Debates, and behind the camera is David Glick, who's going to be your debate moderator. David's going to tell you the rules.
Okay, so we'll start off with just general questions, all the tickets. We'll go from my left to my right, and everyone will have 90 seconds to answer the first question, and then 60 seconds for all the rest. But start off thinking about 90, and then I'll say it again, we go to 60. At 10 seconds left, I'll raise my hand, and at 5, I'll just go like 5, 4, 2, 1, and then I'll like say stop. So we'll start from my left. So the first question is, please introduce your ticket in 90 seconds.
Mirza and Alnasser Faruq ticket. Over the past couple of years, especially at a tough time with transitioning from COVID-19 and its resurgence in the community, we realized that the Stuyvesant community is still kind of reeling and still healing from the years that we kind of lost. And with that, we feel as our ticket is to provide for our senior year, as it starts off very hectic. And with that, our administration will focus on healing our community and pushing for mental health resources, and as well as providing for a very healthy environment that we can continue to push for, as well as representatives of the Student Caucus. Student body.
All right, moving on.
Hi everyone, we're the Lex campaign. I'm Lex, and
Well, I'm Talia. I'm stepping in for Venus tonight.
yeah, and frankly, we're very excited to be running this year. When we graduate Stuyvesant, this is going to be our last year. So in a couple of days, we're going to be rising seniors. And the fact is that these years, like everyone on this table can agree in this room, it's been extremely difficult. But the fact is that the Stuyvesant community is still strong. It is still going, and it will always will be. What the Lex campaign wants to focus on is uplifting and making the Stuyvesant community ready for outside of high school. This means that we want to build the strongest Stuyvesant community that we have ever seen. The goal of many caucuses before has only been to change Stuyvesant. We have a complaint about this, we have a complaint about that. But the fact is that Stuyvesant is so strong regardless of that. The goal of the Lex campaign is to make Stuyvesant ours. And what that means is creating a strong community. What that means is that you guys know about SOS and STC? Those events have not been broadcasted by the caucuses. Yet, it is the largest organizations at Stuyvesant. They're creating world-class Broadway shows. They're creating world-class dance shows. And it is our job to make the Stuyvesant community as strong as possible, whether it's through the SOS, whether it's through promoting these things, whether it's even uplifting it with outside resources like the Alumni Association or other colleges.
Thank you. So now moving on to the next ticket, 90 seconds.
Hey juniors,
America.
and I'm Andrey,
And
we're the Lovely Ticket. Erica is the Director of External Affairs in the Student Union, and I'm the Junior Caucus Co-President.
It's been a tough 3 years, and we all understand that, and we want our senior year to be the one that's completely unparalleled. We want it to be memorable and a time that we will treasure it even after we leave Sty, despite all the tragedies we've gone through, like COVID-19, and all the stuff that happens between. So we, Andrey, Sokolov, and Erica will be able to fulfill all your expectations and exceed them.
The 4 pillars of our campaign are collaboration, advocacy, reliability, and experience, aka CARE. With collaboration, we will utilize our positions as the Senior Caucus to collaborate with the school community, promoting clubs and organizations no matter how big or small. With advocacy, we understand that senior year is one of the toughest years for Stuyvesant students. So we will strive to make it easier by advocating for change to the administration.
With reliability, we will maintain the long-standing traditions that Stuyvesant has held so strongly, like STC and SOS, but also establish new initiatives for future incoming classes to come, while all making sure that these plans are realistic and feasible. With experience, we have already proven to be competent in the past. We know how to get things done, and we will get them done as well.
We care. You deserve to be seen, heard, and included, and we are the ticket that best accomplishes this. Remember, don't be silly, vote lovely.
Okay, awesome. Now moving on to the next ticket.
Hey guys, I'm Gitae,
And I'm Hanson.
and we're the Key Park ticket. Our vision for the senior class of 2023 consists of 2 major objectives. That is first to be the foundational support that students can consistently rely upon, and second is to make our last year a year to remember. It's not an easy goal, but we believe that we've come up with a set of policies that can carefully reflect the 4 pillars that we based ourselves upon. Based on our pillars, reliability, inclusivity, service, and experience, we've crafted college readiness through assistance policies, senior-specific events, plans to uphold senior traditions, while also furthering efforts to increase inclusivity, efficiency, and transparency within the caucus. All of this is aided with our past experiences, either in caucus or directly working with the students.
And we believe that our vision follows a close balance between being ambitious and being manageable. We want to establish a sensible influence on the senior class, while of course continuing senior traditions and resources that the senior caucus has already offered, but also consider ones that may have been lost through quarantine or have not yet been implemented yet. We are confident that if given the opportunity to serve as your senior caucus presidents, we have the potential to make a memorable senior evening.
Okay, thanks so much. Moving on to the next ticket.
Hi, we're the Duran Farrow ticket. I'm Samantha Farrow. I'm Arlette Duran. And the core of our campaign is inclusivity. As 2 Black students who go to Psi, we are very familiar with not feeling heard. They want to make sure the principle that our campaign runs on is making sure everyone's ideas and opinions are heard and interwoven with our policies. We also want to make senior year as enjoyable as possible, while also ensuring that seniors feel prepared to take a life outside of Stuyvesant, whether that means college, or that means going straight into the workforce.
As presidents, we will be open and receptive to all ideas and opinions, and by bringing fresh ideas to Stuyvesant, we hope to make our senior year as enjoyable as possible, while also ensuring that we as seniors are prepared to have life outside of Stuyvesant.
All right, sounds good. Moving on to the last ticket.
Hi, so I'm the Goss part of the Glanz Goss ticket. And as other tickets have spoken to so well, these past 2 years have placed an incredible strain on the student body. Even disregarding the global pandemic, going to a school of Stuyvesant stature is difficult for anyone. And we have faced incredible workloads and like mental health strains that I think pretty much the majority of the students can agree with. So our platform focuses on 3 main values: leisure, which obviously, don't get me wrong, this senior year will be by no means leisurely, but we will try to make it as relaxing and as stress-free as we possibly can as we go through the college process, which will be a new and probably one of the biggest, transitions of our lives. So we will do that by having events to unwind and also by offering resources, guides, and services to try to prepare for college, as well as to try to, work on our mental health and make sure it's protected throughout all of this. Our second value is interconnectedness. So we want to uplift those clubs that are doing so much great work to promote minorities and those unheard voices that really don't get much of a say in the Stuyvesant administration, as well as build community through super fun events, traditional ones and new ones. And our last one is transparency. We have, seen that value degraded many times, and we do not want to do that.
All right, awesome. So now that ends that question. So now the next question, which you'll have 60 seconds to answer, is what experience does your ticket have, and what encouraged you to run? So this will go reverse way, starting on my right.
Okay, so we'll tell you right now, there are definitely more qualified candidates here in the most common sense of the word. However, we believe that an attribute that we have that maybe not everyone does is being average students. We don't have amazing GPAs, and we haven't always figured out exactly what we want to do here. And that being said, we've also struggled seriously with our mental health. However, we've both been pillars of our community. I've been involved in local New York City politics, and Hana has actually brought a criminal to justice in the United States court system in her community. So we have a lot of experience with making change, and that will be reflected in our policies and our work, because we really want to speak for the students in an effective and efficient way.
Okay, thank you. Moving down.
Okay, so for me, my main attribute is that I am a Transition Advisory Council member. which is a council aimed at representing New York's diverse student body. And I'm also a Borough Student Advisory Council, which aims to listen to the company. And I also do serve as the public relations officer at Stuyvesant, which also further shows how well I am at communicating things to other people and making sure other people feel heard and making sure people know what's going on. I also have served as a co-lead, an outreach co-lead for RISE, which is a tutoring service aimed at providing Black and brown students Shazak tutoring for free. And I am also an external outreach coordinator for Perennial Prep, which goes to further show my communications background in order to further make sure everyone at STUY knows what's going on for senior year.
I am currently the vice president of SPIR, the Hispanic Associations at STUY. I'm also director for STUY Squad Step, and I'm also currently the cheer captain for our school. And I've been a part of multiple.
So now moving down to the left, the next ticket.
So for experience, I've been closely working with the student union since I was a freshman. For freshman Caucus, I was the chief financial officer as well as the chief of staff, and currently I'm the chief of staff for the junior Caucus.
Yeah, and for me, I've had extensive experience in leadership positions of many smaller clubs, such as Financial Literacy Club and the Science Movement. And although Caucus usually pertains to a larger group of audience, I believe that my experience can help me establish closer and more meaningful relationships with the student body.
Yeah, so Hanson and I have been involved in various communities within Stuyvesant, and getting to know so many students of a wide array of talents and backgrounds, we feel are passionate working for the student body. So whether it's for a large organization like the SU or small clubs, we constantly enjoy working for and representing the voices of the student body, and we'd love to continue doing so.
Okay, moving on.
So, as most of us know here, I was the previous Junior Caucus co-president, and I've been involved in the student union ever since sophomore year, as I was the first director of outreach before being promoted to chief of staff of the sophomore caucus. As the Junior Caucus co-president, I had experience in working on multiple projects, including the College Guide series, including the different electives guides that we released in the fall and in the spring, along with planning J-Prom. J-Prom was incredibly successful, and I think that it was very fun. And Erica? Actually, wait, before that, I was the curriculum coordinator at Perennial Prep.
Okay, thanks, Andre. So I did not start off as huge as Andre. I started off as a member in the sophomore caucus external outreach department and the SU external outreach department. Currently, I am the SU director of external affairs, and with this, I work with admin, I work with the wellness council, I work with smaller clubs to make sure that the students are heard.
Thank you. So moving on.
Yeah. You know, something that all of these campaigns want to talk about is just listing off their leadership positions. But I think what's very telling with these campaigns is that our experience has to do with the student body. We have a new set of eyes that we want to put onto the caucuses, and it is important for us to have those new eyes because we need new ideas. We need new leadership. And most importantly, we need new people to lead them. The fact is that Andrey has planned all of these things. Gitae has planned all of these things. However, we have built up experience over multiple years. And the fact is that all of that leadership doesn't happen with those 2 seats. It happens with all of the directors. It happens with all of the chief of staffs. And in fact, it happens with all of the members. What makes Stuyvesant special is that we have so many talented people. And the way that we at the Lexus campaign want to take advantage of that, and how we want to mobilize the student body, is by connecting to the student body as much as possible. I was the chief of staff. I helped organize with Andrew Yang. In fact, Venus helped manage a barista. What the difference is, we have the student body, and that's what makes the Lexus campaign unique.
So now on to the last ticket.
Yeah. So we have also had experience in city government running as part of it, both me and Mirza. However, I think what really needs to be emphasized is that experience doesn't matter if you don't have things to back it up. And when we have, like I work with my community to have legitimate support, where we run things like food drives and trying to get legitimate help to our community, even though it's not community, it's local, it's still an experience that's well needed and it's well emphasized because it's only so much that only have titles and to have that. It's what you have behind that counts.
And I currently campaign for the Democratic Party in New York City, so I can understand what people want and I can listen to people what they want for the elections coming up.
Okay, thank you everyone. So now the next question for all the tickets is what sets your ticket apart from all the others? Either any qualities or policies that you think would make you uniquely suited for Caucus presence? And we'll go the reverse way with this one.
Yeah, so I feel that I'm very outspoken and willing to engage with other people, as well as being able to kind of facilitate communication between community and administration. And with that, I believe that I'll be the best voice for this, as throughout the time in Stuyvesant, it's only so much that you can do as positions, but when you hear from the community and you hear what people are longing for or need, that's when we really come to shine. And that's why I believe me and Mirza are able to facilitate a community where we're not afraid to talk about each other and talk about what we could do to best influence our community and to hear from others as well.
And unlike other campaigns, we're not busy. We don't have other commitments, like whether it be like other organizations, other clubs, other like they said, they're part of Science Olympiad or like Math team or any sports team. So we're going to be fully committed to the senior Caucus.
All right, moving to the next ticket.
Right, so what's truly unique about the Lexus campaign is that we strike a balance that is unique from all other tickets. We have those who are almost entirely not involved in SU, like we're coming in with a fresh set of eyes, and we have those who have been in SU for years. But what the Lexus campaign has is truly unique is that we strike a balance of both. We have people that are coming from those involved in the SU, but who are also involved in other student organizations and who know the different parts of people, which means that we are able to take the perspectives of both. We are not forcing you to choose a side and make the SU some like unknown blob that somehow exists in our background. We're making the SU part of the student body, which is what it is made out of. And that starts with having leaders who are part of both, part of the SU and part of the student body, because that's how you really create communication.
Yeah, and I think what Talia also wants to talk about is we are two-man pillars of uplifting and readiness. We want to build that. We want to build this ISU community so it's not just leadership that has been in SU forever. We want eyes from sports, we want eyes from theater, we want eyes from bowling, every single part of Stuyvesant.
Thank you. So now, next ticket.
Yeah, so what many of the candidates, like campaigns, have touched upon is wanting to interact with the students and make sure their voices are heard. But what they don't see is what happens behind the background, what me and Andrey have gone through in the SU Academy meetings. In order to actually implement the ideas and to collaborate with the clubs, we need to first have a good relationship with the administration. And that starts off, like, right now. Like, me and Andrey have spent years talking to admin, years trying to convince them to let us host these fundraisers, to let us host J-Prom, to make sure that these events are actually planned out properly, because without their permission, you cannot do anything at the end of the day. And no matter what you try to implement, if admin does not have a good relationship with you, they will shoot you down. And in order to build that relationship, it takes time. And if you're starting to build that relationship in September, you're not going to have anything done until what, January, February, March, and that by that point senior year is gone. And we don't want that. We want senior year to be fun and memorable and long lasting.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the next ticket.
So there are two major things that make our ticket different from other tickets. And the first one is that our ticket has direct experience working with industry. I personally worked as an executive member since freshman year, and Hanson has considerable experience working directly with the students. So we're confident that we can run the senior caucus smoothly without requiring a period of adaptation.
Yeah, and the other major difference is that compared to other tickets that try to pack their policies with small, menial tasks, we're planning to carry out larger tasks that will truly be meaningful and ambitious for the student body, while also being reasonably achievable. We will not sacrifice existing traditions and resources that have proven to be useful to the senior caucuses, but we are willing to build upon them.
All right, moving to the next ticket.
Something that we have to offer is that we have worked with Principal Yu and admin before outside of things related to the SU. And also, we have so many friend groups that are diverse that we'd love to hear their voices from everyone.
I agree with Arlette. We also have leadership outside of SU, and I know many of our co-president many of our competitors have experience in the SU, but I feel like we offer a fresh perspective because senior caucus and the caucus we had before, they haven't really ran that smoothly, and I know a lot of people have expressed their distaste with that, and I feel like our outside perspective will bring a new, fresh set of eyes into the senior caucus and help us run smoother than it has before in the past. And we also have feasible policies. We don't have policies that are like extraordinarily hard to complete. We have feasible policies that are easy to complete in choosing. And I feel like that's what set us apart from others.
Okay, moving to the last ticket.
So, as a voice for the student body, the Glanz ticket aims to represent every single member of the student body. And as Caucus, having a smaller group, it's really important that every single senior next year is accounted for. And thus far, throughout all our 3 years here, we have not seen that happen. Students constantly struggle and fall behind, and I'm sure all of us have felt a time when we haven't felt represented by the administration, be that the student or the faculty administration. So despite claiming, a good relationship with the administration, I wonder how that has helped the students who are behind on their work, like are getting too much work every day that they can't catch up, like can't even find the energy to go to class, and what policies are in place to effectively change that. And additionally, I think it's easy to regurgitate, traditional events and lack creativity in plans, but, the Glanz ticket really wants some lit and fun and age-appropriate events, like we have planned, like Senior Assassin.
Okay, so the next question is just a chance to highlight some of the main policies that your ticket has that you hope to accomplish. You all have lots and lots of ideas, so just highlight some of the main most important ones. We'll start in this side.
So one of our core things that we want to address is the mental health pandemic here at Stuyvesant, or epidemic. And so we haven't seen that really thoroughly addressed, even though it's such a rampant problem here. So one of our plans is to create mental health pen pals. So we'll have a senior, anonymous senior friends who we can check in with, once a month or bi-weekly or however often that need be, so we can sort of keep each other in check and make sure that we're okay. We also want to share resources to help find reliable therapists and mental health tips, including the care system, which can help you find a therapist actually based on your insurance plan, so it can be subsidized. And furthermore, to also help with mental health, we want to have some really fun events, including parties after big college decisions, because what would be nicer after submitting that big ED application and being able to unwind with your friends, have some snacks, listen to some music, etc. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Moving on to the next ticket.
Okay, so like you mentioned before, one of our main policies is making sure that Stuyvesant students are ready for life beyond Stuyvesant, which means one of our main policies is having home ed classes, workshops taught by other Stuyvesanters, which includes how to cook or financial literacy classes, that make sure that Stuyvesanters know how to operate beyond Stuyvesant, because I know a lot of my friends, and me included, don't really know how to care for ourselves past high school, and we found that it would be important that these students know how to care for themselves. We also have a lot of college and career readiness plans. We plan to release weekly bulletins offering jobs and internships for students who want to get some last-minute work in before college, or for students who want to go directly into the trade of the workforce.
Also, we think that senior events are very important to make senior fun and stress-free. One senior thing that we have planned is will be a collaborative Insta page where it can act as a spam, and you can submit posts of your week and what happened. As well, we would like to make Spirit Week a lot funner. And as cheer captain, I think one thing that I can do is create homecoming as a funner event and bigger.
Okay, moving to the next ticket.
Okay, so we have a lot of main policies, but I think our most prominent event that makes us stand out in front of other tickets is Senior Olympics. This is where we split students into different houses and co-host tournaments for teams to compete in. And at first, it seems very ambitious. But keep in mind that structure isn't really anything unheard of. For example, we would like to work with existing clubs and teams to run these tournaments, of which these organizations are most likely running them by themselves anyway. Think of Senior Olympics as more of a stringing together of different events, and also events that we will create. And not only will it strengthen the relationship between the caucus and internal organizations, but also incentivize community building and senior spirit between the student body. We hope students would be very excited to compete for the houses, and also maybe try out new hobbies or sports that they might not have considered otherwise.
All right, awesome. Moving to the next ticket.
So the Lobby campaign, being part of the city union for so long, understands that as seniors, we are the role model of this school. We are going to be the rising, latest class of Stuyvesant High School. And because of that, we need to make sure that we are the class that actually makes things happen. And by that I mean renovate the SU room. If you've been in the SU room, it's got new furniture, but it still looks, it could look better. It could have have paint all over it. And you could renovate the computer lab that is in the SU room, and you could put in a bunch of stuff in the senior atrium, and you could touch up the senior bar, and you could change up all the poster boards all across the school. If you go around the school, you see all the posters, you see all the club boards that have not been updated since the early 2010s, and I think that it's just something we need to fix. We need to show the students, the underclassmen, that we are seniors who care about them and who will do
Thank you.
best things for them.
Yeah. Moving to the next ticket.
Yeah. So the policies that we want to highlight are basically under the two branches that we have. We talk about readiness and uplifting. To talk about readiness, we also have to address that this is senior year. Senior year means that we're all going to be applied to colleges soon. That is crazy. We're going to apply to colleges. That means that we're going to be creating a plan to make sure Stuyvesant is as ready as possible for that. That means teaming up with alumni to talk to students. That means creating pamphlets to distill information and resources that we already have, we just haven't taken advantage of. Next, we want to talk about uplifting. Uplifting and projecting student voices. That is one of the main points that we want to get across. We know the senior bar is absolutely fun. The senior lounge is super fun. But you know what would make it more fun? It was beautiful. It's not the prettiest of areas in Stuyvesant, and I think we have a lot of talented students at Stuyvesant. One of our many talented campaign managers, Barry, performs. But we can decorate the senior bar with this art. And another thing that we want to do is roasting Mr. U. Do you want to pie Mr. Simone in the face? Senior Simone in the face? Do you want to roast Mr. U? That is exactly what we want to do.
Moving to the last ticket.
We already see that. There are many people in caucuses and in the student union already. We have chiefs of staff that are previous, and we also have presidents for previous years. I'm curious why we're waiting until this year in order to finally start enacting things and finally getting things into place. With our policy, we want to emphasize that we recognize that there are different categories of feasibility between our things. Therefore, the cost-heavy project may not be the best start for us. For example, we could start off with having a more affordable and more inclusive mental health resources, which shouldn't take too much when we already have. We already are offering so much. We need a little more expansion and a little more way for people to be able to feel comfortable reaching out without emphasizing, without feeling like they're risking their own safety.
And furthermore, one of our hallmark policies is
You 10 seconds. Okay. So the next question is basically what do you think people see as your biggest weakness as a ticket, and why do you think they're wrong in thinking that? So we'll start from my left.
I think that without our experience in also more executive roles in student union, you may look down upon us and see that we don't have the experience available in order to lead this caucus and lead us to the best way we can be. However, I'm curious what experience matters if there isn't anything to back it up. And I think that me and Mirza would be the best people in order to finally push for things that the student body needs. And we already reached out to many people, and we want to continue that aspect of it and try to see what they want instead of just trying to think about what they want. And we also want to make sure that it's just a safe environment. And I think that the reason why we want to emphasize the fact that experience doesn't matter is just looking at points in the past 2 years that has legitimately helped us. And that's why I think that it doesn't matter what the policies are, it matters the people behind it are.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the next ticket.
So I think one of the difficulties that comes with creating a campaign that's around balance and connecting the community is that we're a little bit of both, which means that it's easy for people to point out that we're a little bit less than qualified. So yes, we're in SU, but we're not 3 years or 4 years of experience like that. And yes, we're connected to other clubs, but we are connected to SU. We have fun events like the roast with Mr. Yu and Senior Simone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not a serious campaign. And I think that what's special about our campaign that might be considered weakness is that what comes with balance means that we also will have to not necessarily be the most serious campaign or the most experienced campaign, because STY is never about being the most of anything. It's about the inclusivity of everybody who's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and I think what's important about that is the question you might ask is why specifically us? Everybody here has similar policies, but what makes us special is that we're a new set of eyes that has strong leadership throughout all of Stuyvesant, not just their little regions.
Thank you. Moving to the next ticket.
I mean, Yeah, like just based off what we heard today, so many candidates have stated that they need a new fresh, like a fresh pair of eyes in Caucus, and that they need someone new in Caucus, and that they need someone who has never been in SC before in Caucus. And although that is true at some parts, I would like to just first mention that me and Andrey aren't only involved in Caucus. That's not our only activity. We do a lot of things outside of school, outside of Caucus, that does allow us to have fresh perspectives on the current situation at Stuyvesant. We're in smaller clubs. We do SAVE, we do SOS. Well, actually, I don't do SOS this year, but we are involved in those clubs. We're in Spectator. Our campaign managers are in STC. They're in robotics. They're in all these smaller clubs, and we make sure that their voices are heard, and we make sure that they communicate to us what we need to do for the next year to be the best year that we have ever had.
Awesome. Moving to the next.
Okay, for the HEPAR ticket, we really strive to make ambitious policies. But some students will ask us, they are ambitious policies and ambitious. But I really don't think so, because for us, we have extensive planning networks. We work together so long. We're used to sitting together and just sitting down and planning everything out. Plus, we thoroughly research these policies, and we truly believe that we can make them work. We don't just take them out of our minds or take small tasks and pump them into a ball, throw it at a wall, and hope they stick. We really put thought into these policies, and we really hope that these policies will really make a difference in your senior year. You don't want to be bogged down with policies that you don't really see. Is there even a senior caucus existing if these policies aren't made? Exactly. So even though we are ambitious, it may not happen. We have the planning and we have the resources to do so.
Can you check out our platform? We come up with strategies to overcome the hardships of each policy. So.
Okay, thank you. Moving to the next ticket.
As stated previously, we have not had leadership in the SU, but we have leadership positions in other clubs and things outside of STY that prove that we have qualities that will be perfect for senior caucus, such as we have communication skills with outreach, we also have planning and organizational skills.
So personally, I have experienced pretty huge plans together as being one of the main organizers for the big walkout that happened earlier this year. And also, if we're being honest, I know experience is a big part of why you would want somebody as a candidate. But if we look at the past caucuses, I feel like they've been nothing short of messy and complicated. And I feel like our senior year shouldn't have to deal with all of that trauma that we had to deal with before. And I feel like me and Arlette, we have a very trauma-free base. We're very basic. We have basic policies, and we really just want to make senior as enjoyable for everyone. And that's at the root of our experience. We don't want drama, we don't want positions, we don't want this, we don't want that. We just want to have a senior that everyone can enjoy and feel like they have a place and they feel like they have a voice as well.
Thank you. Moving to the last ticket.
Okay, so a lot of tickets have said that we need a fresh pair of eyes on Caucus, and honestly, I disagree, and I don't think that we inherently need a fresh pair of eyes on the Caucus, and I would love nothing more than to hand it over to the people who know what they're doing. However, throughout our 3 years here and the last one, I personally think that we have not seen sufficient change or advocacy within the Caucus. Again, as Samantha said, it's been messy. We've seen leadership changes that I had to figure out about in the Spectator, and the Caucus has been relatively opaque in that sense. And furthermore, I haven't seen any of the glaring issues be properly addressed, and that is what Hana and I are hoping to do with our ticket. And furthermore, we believe we're able to because we've made tangible change within our communities and on a much larger scale than Stuyvesant before, and we are passionate about the issues that we're fighting for, which makes us the ideal vehicle for spreading this change throughout the school and the senior class.
Okay, so that is all for the general question section. So now we're going to go into ticket-specific questions. I have one question prepared for each of the tickets, and you'll have 60 seconds to answer it. We'll just go down the line this way. In most cases, they're kind of more specifically about specific policies on your ticket than like general things at large. So starting with the Glanz Gosfield, can you talk a little bit more about your plan to bring in different lesser-known colleges to see size students? What would this look like, and how is it different than what you have?
Yes, so obviously the Stuyvesant Alumni Association and network has so many resources available that are already, widely elicited by the school. But we believe, Stuyvesant students you know, there's Big Red, Cornell, like Harvard, Yale, and that's it. And there's so many other smaller schools that are really amazing. I know we have presentations on the CUNYs and SUNYs, you know, but there's more than that because a lot of students want to get out of New York City. And so it's different in the sense that we'll introduce students to schools that might be more realistic based on just coming from such a large pool of so many amazing students, but also that they genuinely will enjoy and they won't feel like they have to settle for. So yeah, how we will do that is collaborate with the PA who has already been so generous in offering us so many resources to find people who want to talk about this, maybe doing group like information sessions, etc.
Okay, thank you. So now for the Duran Farrow campaign. So you mentioned these like financial literacy things sort of directed at future outside of Stuyvesant. Could you give more detailed specifics about what these would look like and what sort of things you'd like to offer?
Sure. The first one we talked about was cooking classes. So basically, I know a lot of my friends and I don't really know how to cook. And I know a big narrative of college is like, oh, like ramen every night, like we don't know how to feed ourselves or we starve. So we really don't want that for our seniors. We want them to be able to take care of themselves, and especially if they don't go straight to college, if they go straight to their careers. We don't want them to starve themselves every night just because they don't know how to cook. So we really want to have workshops where students, other side students, we don't have someone coming from outside of that, where we like, who is this? We don't care who this is. We have other side students teaching side students how to cook. And when it comes to personal finance, I know a lot of my friends are really interested in like how to invest, how to take care of your money, how to save, where to spend, how much to save. So we really want to have personal finance classes targeted towards seniors so that when they go into college, or when they go into the workforce, when they make income, or when they have to save the income that they're making for college, they know how to do that. They don't spend all their money on frivolous things, and they know how to make a generated source of income.
All right, thank you. So now the question for the Key Part campaign is a big part of your ticket revolves around college readiness, right, and helping seniors with that. So can you just give some more details about that?
So we've drafted a lot of college readiness policies, and a lot of them are aimed toward the resource section of it, which Gitae will explain.
Yeah, so the first policy we have is called the alumni perspective. So basically we plan to invite recent Stuyvesant alumni who will panel discussions to share their current experiences at that college, to give advice and personal experience with the college application process, and like do a Q&A with the students to give like the students' perspective of attending college and college.
Yeah, and we also plan to expand current available resources. We'll continue to provide PA and senior caucus with college interview practices, but we would also like to expand them by introducing a program where students can get a second opinion on their college application essays. And also, for early action college support, many students like to start their college application processes early in the summer. So the senior caucus should follow suit. By providing college-specific resources earlier for students, will make a stressful process easier.
Okay, thank you. For the Sokolov League campaign, you two are kind of the incumbents, I guess. So what is the biggest adjustment you'd like to make from what you've done in the past for the conference?
Yeah, so a lot of the campaigns have kind of mentioned this already, but to address the issue of transparency, yes, we're finally going to talk about it openly and directly. So we obviously all know the corruption incidents and the nepotism within Caucus, and although that did happen, we also have we have learned from it. We acknowledge and understand that there are issues of it in Caucus, but what we also are planning to do is to completely open up our Google Drive to the entire Stuyvesant community. We are planning to let the entire community of Stuyvesant see what we're working on, see what see the process of letting applicants apply into Caucus, see what is happening within Caucus, what each departments are working on to make sure that they're actually working on something, and what could be more transparent than that, than letting everyone see what you're doing at any second, at any minute, at any time.
Okay, thank you. For the Lexus campaign, you talked about one of your pillars of uplifting side a little bit earlier. But could you just spend a little more time explaining what that would look like in this specific?
Oh yes, of course. You know, uplifting Stuyvesant communities is very important. As a photographer and one of the editors of the Spectator, all of us know that there's so many niches at Stuyvesant. Whether it's the bowling team, the #1 bowling team in New York, but we also have a top-tier dance team. But we also have amazing artists. But we also have a traveling math and chess team that wins across the nation and even the globe. The fact is that we have so many communities at Stuyvesant. We have so many great people at Stuyvesant. And we want to make sure that every single one of those voices are included. Whether it's taking a photo of you, whether it's including you in the conversation, whether it's creating fun events to help decorate our senior bar and lounge by uplifting art students, whether it's creating and promoting SOS and SDC as frequently as possible so that we can help our Stuyvesant community grow as close together. Charlie, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, and I would just say that you can see that through all of our different events that we've implemented as the core of our campaign.
Okay, thank you. So now for the Alnasser Faruq campaign, you two mentioned having a senior trip. Could you explain how that would work?
So our most ambitious policy was a senior trip. First, we're gonna from since first day of school to mid-November, we're gonna first let the student body choose where you wanna go. And then after that, we decide we work with the administration, because we're thinking around 600 kids will go, which is very doable because other schools, they do a senior trip too. And many people want a senior trip, like they don't want to go to this prom, they just want a senior trip. That could also be cheaper. And then after students choose it, we discuss with the administration of how many faculty advisors, how many faculty people we need, and chaperones. If 600 people go, we'll have 40 adults to accompany us. After that, we choose the pricing, senior hoodies, and
yeah. So we always understand that at prom, for example, it can get very hectic with the formalities of it, and we need a time to unwind, especially as our senior year looking down upon us. Therefore, until the senior trip, it's best for us to finally open up instead of being restricted by it.
Thank you. So now we're going to have time for tickets to ask questions to one another. So you can raise your hand and either ask a question to a specific ticket or just to all the tickets, and then I guess you'll answer as well. I'm sure if we start to talk about it.
Okay, so this question is addressed to both.
You want to
First
start?
start? I can start.
Yeah, you can
Yeah, okay. First of all, I want to say hi to JD, Jerry, Alvin. You guys are here, I think. Ziyang as well. We'll talk about fairies and all of that later. But something that we want to talk about is definitely, both of our campaigns have ties to the site here. In fact, I believe it was Susie has an editor position, and I'm actually the editor of the photo department. And the fact is that when we're editors, we have access to this transcript of what we said in the interview. Seeing those interview notes, it says one-to-one what we said in the interview and what they asked. That doesn't help us at all. The fact is that we have access to that. We're the editors. We see that every single day. We go to spec class every single day. So we're going to be a part of that. That's part of our responsibility. Seeing those notes of what we said and what they said, and not necessarily what the results were, doesn't change anything. And I think that's a very silly question to ask, especially it just proves that we have that experience in this criteria and across the Stuyvesant community. Want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I think Lex covered a lot of it, but yeah, first of all, I mean, if you're really gonna have a problem with that, I think a lot of the blame could be placed on Spectator for being careless enough to have that shared with people involved in the campaign. But secondly, yes, our campaign manager, Susie, viewed our document when it had simply our transcript, which was exactly what we said, because Hana and I actually disagreed on how well the interview went. So Susie just went ahead and looked at it. It was just what we said, so I don't really get how that could assist our campaign at all. I mean, we know what we said. Susie just wanted to know because obviously she wasn't present and obviously she's a central member of our campaign. And I know there are claims that we edited our policies based on that, but as you can see, our doc was last edited 9 days ago, and I think it was like a slight typo. So we actually haven't made a single edit since we first released our platform. Unlike some of pretty much all of the other tickets we've seen, viewing other platforms and altering their policies based on that.
Okay. Does any other ticket have a question?
Okay, so this is for Love Lee. So I noticed you talked about in your platform doing unrestricted lunch freeze or streamlining lunch freeze, and you noted pretty much your thing there was that it was a staffing issue, and I'm wondering how you, as the senior caucus, are going to be able to hire more scanners or ensure that the scanners get paid more if even the SU can't do that, and clearly even the faculty administration can't do that.
So, as you probably noticed, a couple of weeks ago, GSU sent out a future planning survey to the entire student body, where they were able to actually give your opinion on what the student administration, along with the student leaders, should actually focus on next year. And one of the options in that survey was actually talking about the staffing and talking about going out for lunch. So we are planning to work with the administration on figuring out what is happening, because we had numerous talks with the principal regarding this issue. And we are also, not only that, we are planning on helping, or rather collaborating with the IT department of the school and try to fix the programming issue, which does not let students go out during their science elective freeze, because that issue is not the staffing issue, but rather is a software issue.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we have time for one more question, and then we'll go into closing.
I guess bouncing off to Lopez ticket as well as everyone else, I'm curious, for Lopez specifically, the past 2 years, we've already seen a transition in person. What policies have happened this year that you can point to and say, this is what we've done so far, what are we going to expand on next year in order to continue this streak? Why should we trust you? What did we do last year and the year before?
We did the electives guide, we did the college planning survey. Along with Flex during the sophomore caucus, we did the Andrey event. We did so much stuff that we promoted to the entire student class of 2023, and we are planning on expanding on it. If you just noticed, we just released the senior electives guide. It's the biggest guide we made ever. It has 72 pages. You go on it, it has all the courses, all the teachers, all the student experiences. We are planning on keeping up the good work. We're planning on continuing planning the prom. We're planning on talking to administration more.
Yeah, and also just to add on besides that, like these events, although they may seem small or not small I guess, but they may seem always repetitive, they are hard to plan out. It takes time, it takes months, it takes hundreds of people's effort to put into it. Stuff that has not been planned before and are just simply not feasible at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. I actually lied with the no more questions thing. Every ticket that hasn't asked the question can, or they can just like waive it, I guess.
You guys
Okay,
go.
sure. We can go.
I'd like to ask a question about how all the campaigns plan to address the issue of nepotism when it comes to, I guess the local campaign answer, but I'd ask for you to expound on the issue of nepotism and how you plan to select the people who are going to be on your board.
Okay.
But everyone can answer.
Should we could do a 30-second answer for every ticket. We can start, I guess we can start with Mark.
Okay, so first we probably want to start off with one of our policies. It's actually changing the structure of the senior caucus.
Yeah, we want to include more students in the caucus, so inclusivity, to allow more students to be included in the caucus and to allow more diverse opinions and initiatives, so yeah.
Okay, Sokolov.
Okay, so our idea is to actually bring in a past member of either the SU or just a simple Stuyvesant alum and sit in on our interview process, because then they can take part and they can give their commentary about who they think is the best fit, because they are an unbiased person. They do not have really any connection to the current student body. They don't know who they are or what their, I guess, extracurriculars or friends are. And this way they're also like an adult figure. They know what is happening in the real world and what can be done and not done.
Okay, thank you. Alexis?
Yeah, nepotism is a great problem at Stuyvesant in general, from every club to every single organization. And the problem is that it's going to be very difficult to eliminate it. We all have a lot of friends, we all have a lot of connections. But the fact is that the license campaign, what sets us apart, is that we understand the simplest way to combat nepotism. It's like not doing it. That means being.
We want to also have it so that we can communicate effectively with on our to the body and outside of it. And that's what we think would different.
Okay, thank you. You want to go up?
Okay, so I want to start by saying, first of all, if we were elected, we really would want to get things done. And we know that anyone, if sitting around with their friend group, like in a room, they probably wouldn't be planning and more like talking about their day or what they're going to wear tomorrow or whatever. So we don't want a majority of our friends to be involved in this unless they are truly deserving. And furthermore, well, I was going to say we have the most extreme policy for this probably, but I guess Ameer would probably take that. We want to have a completely anonymous application and interview by a third party, not just included.
Thank you. And then Duran, Farrow, I guess you guys can answer your own question.
Oh, okay, I'm sure. So basically, they're strongly against nepotism. I have experienced personally not getting a role that I applied for simply because I wasn't friends with the person I was applying under. And basically, I think our main policy is that when we go to interview applicants for Caucus, we are going to each interview a person we are least familiar with so that we can have an unbiased opinion of their answers.
Okay, thank you. So now, I guess, Lexus has a question.
Yeah, so our question, I guess, I know in particular lovely, but for the campaigns, I also know we mentioned having graduation at the Carnegie Hall, I believe. So the current seating for Carnegie Hall is about 2,800 people, which is just enough for maybe every single student and their parents. So how do you plan to accommodate those, which are grandparents, siblings, any other people, when the physical capacity will not allow them?
Before we answer that, can everyone who that question would apply to raise their hand, or is it just softball?
Yes, that's basically.
Okay, so then you guys get it.
So in the past, the student senior caucus, along with the administration, were able to plan it out well, and we're going to be talking briefly to the administration, along with the past alumni who actually planned out graduation at Carnegie Hall, and seeing how they solved the problem in the past. Because we also have to understand that not every parent is going to attend graduation. I certainly do not know if my parents are going to be attending. And, we will just see how the administration decides to respond to us.
Okay, Key Park, you can ask a question if you'd like.
We'll leave it.
Okay, so now we move on to closing statements. I think we left off going this way, so we'll start with the Alnasser Faruq campaign, and you'll have 60 seconds to just wrap up.
During the year specifically, and during prom, we noticed that the event at prom caused a COVID outbreak, and that is something that people should recognize. And with that, we believe that there are levels of this that we should kind of take into account. And with the COVID-19, I don't think it's going to end next year as well. And we should recognize that as our campaign. We hope that other campaigns also recognize that, and hope that we take enough safety concerns in order to do that. Also with that, we want to emphasize that our goals are to help the student body, and we want to hear from you guys, as well as pushing for our own mental health resources and other aspects of this. And with that, we hope that you guys vote for us because of that fact, and we want to make sure that you guys are heard.
Okay, moving on.
Let's stand up for a second. There are 12 people in this room right now that are running for senior caucus. At the end of the day, 2 of them will be elected presidents. And the fact is that those 2 seats won't change much. The fact is that all of these tickets are running because Stuyvesant is motivated. By the Lex campaign, we want to mobilize the Stuyvesant community as much as possible. We recognize that there are so many great voices, that there are so many great people in this school. And what proves this is who is running. So when you vote tomorrow, you want to keep two things in consideration. Who is going to grow the best Stuyvesant community? Who is going to allow you to get step forward into the next journey, into the next step of our journey, i.e. outside of high school. And we know that the Stuyvesant community must take lectures because we have a thorough plan to help everybody in Stuyvesant, from every single community, whether it's bowling, whether it's the SDC, whether it's SOS. We want to help all of y'all, and that means fairs. That means everything. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending the debate. I think that's a closing statement.
All right, moving to the next ticket.
All right. So we all want to have a fun, memorable senior year, and we, Arlette and Andrey Sokolov, can actually promise you that. We have the experience backing us up. Our core 4 principles: collaboration, advocacy, reliability, experience, aka care, and now actually integrity, can guarantee you that we will actually be able to fulfill our promises. And to address the issue of transparency again, because I feel like our question last time was not enough, you have heard from every single ticket that they will tackle these issues and decrease nepotism and improve transparency. But when the other campaigns access the spectators' endorsement results unfairly and early, they abandon their integrity. They claim that they have campaign managers and spectators. So do we. We have Theo Yoakum, and he is one of the editors and spectators. Yet he didn't access it. He didn't abandon his integrity for it. You deserve better than that. You deserve a student government that you can count on and always stay true to you. You deserve us.
Okay, thank you. Move to the next ticket.
Alright, with experience in the SU and dedication to serve the student body, we believe that the HEPARC ticket can achieve the goals that we have described in our platform. But it's not only these goals that we want to achieve as student leaders. It's also an ambition to foster a certain type of community, a community that can help each other move forward by strengthening and creating new bonds between students of different backgrounds. After all, this will be the last and only chance for us to experience our senior year and the potential of developing connections with these people.
With our vision, our ticket is confident that we can lead the senior class of 2023 in the right direction by representing the voices of the student body. So let's make our senior year a success and memories. Thank you.
Okay, moving to the next ticket.
To be honest, the reason you and I met this year is because we were slightly dissatisfied with the junior classes last year. It was drama-filled and a little bit inefficient. And honestly, we just wanted open and honest and fun senior year. We don't have drama or passive conspiracies. We're new and passionate, and we really want to make a change. We're invested in advocacy, as shown by Arlette being representative and me being on multiple outreach corporations aimed at tutoring underprivileged youth. And honestly, we just want a smooth academic year that makes senior year as easy as possible. And yeah.
And also, I believe that our policies are easy. They can be done really easily, and they won't take that much time to do. And I feel like we're the perfect people to do this. And we also have experience, not only that we haven't had an SU, but we have experience that will help us guide ourselves through the SU. And if you guys vote for us, we'll make sure that this year is the best for everyone. And thank you.
Okay, the last ticket.
All right, to talk of an abandonment of integrity, to talk about by the lovely team, I find slightly ironic. I mean, I see they made no concrete clarifications as to why the corruption issue happened and how they're going to prevent it from happening again. And so I'm not sure if they're really in a great position to speak on that. But anyways, we've seen the other campaigns make lofty promises, unclear plans about fundraising and guarantee.
It's 5 o'clock, students. If you are not under the direct supervision of an adult, a teacher or coach, please tidy up the environment around you. Okay, gather your belongings, and everybody have a safe journey home so we can all see each other tomorrow morning. Safe journey home, everyone.
Hi.
One of our policies should be fixing the speakers.
Yeah, we can continue.
Yeah, we've seen these guarantees of things that senior caucus simply can't guarantee, like the lowering of prom prices or senior trips. And I mean, what would happen if you voted for one of these tickets on the basis of that and then ended up feeling disappointed when they couldn't get it done? Anyways, the essential aspect of being the student's voice is actually being a voice for the students, and we know what you care about, and we know that you want to have fun after a 3-year-long grind, and we want to say enough with the sort of out of touch and disconnected events that no one is really too excited about, and really have some fun and de-stress in our last year.
All right, thank you everyone.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching the Senior Caucus debate. This will be posted on YouTube later on our Stuyvesant Boards of Elections account. Sorry for any lag that might have been encountered during the live video. I know there were some comments about that, but this will be posted later for everyone else to watch. I guess I would just like to close by saying that I know this debate was a little late in the season, but voting is tomorrow, and you can vote on vote.stuysu.org. You can also go to all these amazing tickets on their Instagram and also on our master doc, which is on our Instagram bio, StyBOE. You can also view their policies. But if that's it, then that's pretty much it for this, and that wraps up all our debates for this year. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.